thesis statements are kind of speculative, right? They're what you think is really going on in a text or what you see lingering beneath the surface. But some claims are more speculative than others. And so when we're in a situation where we want to make a claim that feels a little bit out there or really requires us to take some leaps, today's move can help us do just that. Today's move is a speculative claim. Let's take a look at a speculative claim written by Pamela Erens, writing for LitHub. I'd like to believe Eliot would say that dedication to the craft of writing can be as honorable as the dedication to farming or furniture making, but she would probably reply that it's not so simple. So in this passage, Pamela Erens is writing about George Eliot, the author of Middlemarch, and she is speculating about what George Eliot's work, what George Eliot herself would say about the nature of labor, the nature of work itself. And so in this passage, she is putting some words into Eliot's mouth. It is pretty speculative. What would George Eliot truly say if we asked her about why it's important to work? So let's look here and see what we notice. Erens writes, I'd like to believe Eliot would say that dedication to the craft of writing can be as honorable as dedication to farming or furniture making. So the first thing I notice here is this phrase, I'd like to believe. Now, we've been told for years and years when we're writing thesis statements or claims that we should take the first person out of it. There's no I in a thesis statement because we want to sound like an expert, right? But Erens does something softer. She does something more personal and intimate here where she says, I'd like to believe this is what the writer would say. Then I notice she makes a statement, right? I'd like to believe that, and then we get her claim. Eliot would say that dedication to the craft of writing can be as honorable as dedication to farming or furniture making. And then she does something really interesting. She uses this conjunction, but, to give us the other side, the other side of the speculation or what somebody could potentially disagree with. But she would probably reply that it's not so simple. So look at the pattern that Erens is creating here. I'd like to believe thesis statement. I'd like to believe claim. But maybe this other thing is also true too. Now, this is a slippery slope, right? This is a little bit tricky because when we're writing and we're making claims, part of our purpose is to state what we know, to state what we think, and to state it strongly, right? We don't want to be wishy-washy. And that's why we would not use a speculative claim all the time. Erens is using a speculative claim here because she really wants to acknowledge that, yeah, I'm kind of taking a big swing here to put words in George Eliot's mouth. And I do realize that there's a valid other side or other perspective. So a speculative claim is something we would kind of reserve in our back pockets as writers. This is not an everyday claim. This is for those moments where we know we are kind of treading lightly on thin ice. We know we're saying something that might really be a stretch. We know we're reaching for kind of a far-flung fruit out there, but we still want to share that perspective. Let's take a look at how some other writers take a big swing with speculative claims. So when you're writing, where would you like to say something about a text or about a writer that you feel very strongly and you feel the evidence supports, but you know it's a little bit of a reach? You know that you're taking a big swing. Where could you use words like perhaps, maybe, I guess, I like to believe, to communicate that vulnerability in your own perspective, to communicate your voice and your personality clearly as you acknowledge, this is a big swing, but I want to tell you what I think anyway. Where might you use this sort of formula of, I'd like to believe that, but to acknowledge a different perspective or another side? Thank you for watching. We hope that you'll subscribe so that you don't miss any future mini moves for writers.